the new Star Wars trailer?
How are you all doing?
Scary.
So you see, Jesus, he took all the sin, all the death, all of the pain, all of the suffering into his body, right? But we are still in pain, we are still in suffering. Why? Why is there still death? Because Jesus has to show us. Go ahead. Because of original sin.
Because Jesus can absorb all of it?
Because Jesus can absorb. Those are both really good answers. Okay, you remember the last time we talked about if you sin, you're gonna die, right? But Jesus has to show us a picture. If God doesn't show us a picture, which death is he talking about? Is it the death of the body, which concerns God, or is it the death of the soul?
Death of the soul.
The death of the soul. That's what is important to God. Remember that. What is the death of the soul? What would you call the death of the soul?
Like when your spirit dies?
When your spirit dies. How would your spirit die? Because when we go over there, we live forever, remember? We either live eternally, we are living forever in heaven with God, or we are living in hell forever without God. The choice is ours. So what is spiritual death? When we die physically, what happens?
It was based off of our decision.
It was based off our decision, but what literally happens?
We get buried.
We get buried, but
Our body shuts down.
our body shuts down.
We rotten.
We rot in the grave.
Whoa.
You see what God is trying to show us as a picture is that when we die physically on earth, okay, it's the soul, our soul and our body separate.
Oh, I know one more.
Okay,
Your body gets donated.
donated to, yeah. We could donate our organs to other people, right? They could use
It's
it.
gross.
So the death that is on earth is a physical death, which is the separation of body and soul. Do you all understand? But the real death which God is concerned with, which God is concerned about, is which death? The separation of the soul from what?
Body.
No, the body is already gone.
The sin.
Okay, physical death. You would call physical death, what would we call it? Separation of what? Separation of body
And spirit.
and soul, right? So when the body and soul is separated, that's physical death. What about spiritual death? Spiritual death is a separation again. Separation of what?
Your soul.
Soul and
Sin.
separation of soul from God. You have to understand this. Physical death, separation of body from soul. Okay? So our body dies, our body goes in the ground. And where does the soul go?
To heaven or hell.
It goes either to heaven or hell. Right? The spiritual death, that's the second death that we are concerned with. That's what God is trying to show us. That's why He puts physical death on this earth to show us that, look, there's a separation. You're going to be separated. We don't want to die and go to hell. We want to die and go
Heaven.
to heaven. When we go to heaven, we are with God forever. Do you understand? Okay. We already talked about this, that if all of you were sitting at McDonald's and we were all eating, and you were on a
Diet.
say the school was taking you all out on
Field trip.
a field trip, okay? On a field trip, and you all were told to bring money to pay for your meal. And some of you, or say all of you, forgot to bring money. And you all are sitting at McDonald's, and you all are eating,
Oh, that happened to me
And-
once.
right? And supposing it's like Jesus comes over there to the McDonald's, and he has this credit card, which is like a gold unlimited credit card, and he gives it to the lady at the counter, and he says, that all of these kids, they're all mine. And so he gives the lady the card and he says, charge it on my card, right? And so when all the kids start coming to the counter, and some of the kids, the lady asks the kid, do you know Jesus? And the kid would say, yes, I know Jesus, so I don't know Jesus. Right? If the kid said, I know Jesus, she would say, okay, you can go, your meal has been paid for. Okay, you understand? That's how it is. Supposing the kid said, I don't know Jesus, then what would she say? Your meal is not paid for. You have to pay for it yourself. So you're going to say,
It's like the teacher is Jesus and he's taking care of us, and if you don't believe in Jesus, you don't.
then you go to hell. That's how I would explain it to you, that you're going to pay for it yourself. Right? I'm just giving you this example of McDonald's so you all can make sense of it in your head. Do you understand how it works?
Yes.
Okay? So when Jesus died on the cross, he paid for the sins of the whole world. Right? He paid for everybody in the world. The what?
Those were the sins.
Those are like sins and like bad stuff.
So do you all understand? When Jesus died on the cross,
He died for us.
he paid. Okay? He paid the cost for the sins of the whole world. He paid for the sins of everybody in the world, from the beginning, from the time of Adam to the last man or woman that will be born. Okay? He paid for everybody. But everybody doesn't accept his payment. They come and they say, I don't want him to pay for it, I'll pay for it myself. That's when they go to
Hell.
hell. Do you understand? Okay, so the choice is ours, whether we accept the payment that Jesus made for us. That's when we believe in Jesus, or we say we don't want your money. We don't want you to pay for us, we're going to do it ourselves. Do you understand? Okay, so last we were talking about the liturgical year.
Last year?
Last week, Last week, we were talking about the liturgical year, and that's the calendar that the church follows, right? The reason why we are explaining the liturgical year to you is that when you come to Mass and you see the priest, sometimes he's dressed in the green vestments, sometimes he's dressed in white, sometimes he's dressed in purple, and on very special occasions he dresses in red. So when we go to church and we see, remember we were talking about the different seasons of the year? Like in spring, we wear shorts and t-shirts, in summer too. But then as it gets closer to winter, you see all of us start coming out in coats. The same way when we see the priest dressed in different clothes, it gives us a guide of which season we are in. Are all of you following?
Yes.
Okay. So this is basically the liturgical year, right? And the Jews had the Torah, which was the Bible, the Old Testament, before Jesus came on the scene, right? And then we got the New Testament. But in the Old Testament was all about Jesus. But the Old Testament is all about Jesus. Jesus what?
Prepare for Jesus' welcome.
So the Old Testament, okay, is all about Jesus concealed. That means he's hidden. He's there, but he's hidden. You don't see him. In the New Testament, it's all about Jesus. It's all about Jesus revealed. So it opens up the Testament and shows us what is happening. Okay? So without the New Testament, we wouldn't understand the Old. And without the Old Testament, we wouldn't understand the New. Okay? So a lot of times we have to go to the Old Testament to study the Old Testament so we can understand the New Testament. Do you understand? And we wouldn't understand the New Testament unless we knew the pictures of Jesus that were in the Old Testament. Is everyone following so far? So just as we would divide our year into spring, summer, autumn, and fall, okay? The Catholic or the Christian calendar is divided into different seasons. So, what are the two most important things in our faith that we believe in? Jesus. What would we be talking about Jesus? About his what? What are the two things in Jesus' life that is the most important to us?
Sacrifice.
It's his birth. Okay.
His death.
Birth and death.
It would be his birth and his death. Very good. Whoever said that.
Who's on it? Martin.
So we are concerned because Jesus is the Savior. So we are concerned with his birth and we are concerned with his death. So our whole calendar, our whole calendar revolves around two things. What would it revolve around?
Jesus' birth and death.
Jesus' birth and Jesus' death. Exactly. So our calendar would start with, when does our year start?
January
Jesus'
1st.
birth.
Yeah, but it starts how many weeks before
December
Jesus'
25th.
birth? How many weeks before?
Christmas. 4.
4 weeks. That's what we talked about last week. Remember? 4 weeks. 4 weeks before Christmas. 4 weeks before Christmas is the new year of the church. Okay, remember that. The new year of the church starts 4 weeks before what? Before Christmas.
Advent.
So we start calling that Advent. What is the meaning of Advent?
What, you sacrifice something for?
No. What is the meaning of Advent?
Oh, yeah.
To come to?
Come to. So Advent means to come to, or it's coming. So we are coming to Christmas, or you can say Christmas is coming. Okay? The birth of Jesus is coming. Do you all understand so far? Yes? So Advent. How many weeks is Advent? 4. In Advent, what color do we wear? Or what color is the priest wearing?
Purple.
Purple. So is next week going to be Advent?
No.
This
Not yet.
I believe we are going to be in Advent, right? 28? Let me tell you what. Okay, Advent starts November 29. So write that down. It's November 29 of this year. So what day is Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving is what? 27? 26? Thanksgiving will be 26, right? I believe. 26? Okay, so Thanksgiving is going to be a holiday, and then 3 days after Thanksgiving is going to be the start of Advent. So when you go to Mass the first Sunday after Thanksgiving, what color should the priest be wearing?
Purple.
Purple, very good. So when you see the priest wearing purple, you know Advent has started. Okay? So Advent is going to last 4 weeks, and then we are going to have the season of what? Remember, after 4 weeks, Jesus' birthday, right? Okay. When you celebrate your birthday, are you being born every year?
Yeah.
No. But what are we doing?
You're celebrating.
We are celebrating the day of our birth. So when we have Christmas, it doesn't mean that Jesus is being born. He's already born. We are just celebrating that day. You understand? We are celebrating that day, right? So we are celebrating his birthday. So we come to the 25th of December, which would be, what do we call it?
Christmas.
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 Right? We call it Christ Mass because Christ, Jesus Christ and Mass. Okay? Christmas. Okay? That's the season of Christmas. So Christmas lasts for 5 weeks. Okay? From December 25th till Jan 10. So Christmas would last from 25th of December, okay, to the 10th of January. Do you all get it so far?
Yeah.
So 29, did we say 29 or 28 or 26? 26. 29, that's when Advent starts, right? So 29 of November to the 24th of December, right? So what is this? This is Advent. That's the 4 weeks, right? This is the 4 weeks, and this one is?
5 weeks.
So we call this Advent and we call this Christmas.
No.
So during the Christmas season, what color is the priest supposed to be in?
White.
White. Why white? Why white?
To celebrate his birthday.
White is a symbol of purity. That means being pure and being clean. White. White is a symbol of purity and being clean, right? So there's no dirt on it. You can see pure white. That's why the bride wears. What does the bride wear?
White.
White. Why? Because she's pure and she's clean. Okay? So we come from Advent to Christmas, and then now we are here in what? In green. And what is that called?
Spring.
Spring. Or we call it, by the church terminology, we call it ordinary time. So why we call it ordinary time? Because nothing special is happening during that time. It's just an ordinary time of the year. Okay? Are you all following so far? And ordinary time will go from 11th of Jan to 9th of Feb. So it's a very short time. And this is ordinary.
There are 2 times, right? 2 ordinary times?
So during this season of Advent, Christmas, and ordinary times, this is called, according to the Jewish calendar, the former rains. The former or the first rains. That's when the Jewish farmers would be planting the harvest and they would be watering the fields or waiting for the rains to come. The first rains. Okay, because it's the beginning of their new what? It's the beginning of the Jewish new what?
Year.
New year. We start our year in January. The Jews start their year over here on the day of 14 days after the day before, 14 days after the New Year, which they call Rosh Hashanah.
What now?
So the Jewish New Year is called Rosh Hashanah, and 14 days after that is the Day of Atonement. Okay, then after that they have the Feast of Trumpets, and after that they call it the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay?
Ooh, tabernacle. I don't know what that is. What?
So we have the former rains, which we would consider the first coming like in spring, but no, they go the other way around. When does when does our day start? We think of our day when we wake up in the morning. But the Jewish day, where would the Jewish day start at?
At 12.
They start at 6 o'clock in the evening. And you ask yourself, why is that? Why do you think the Jewish day starts in the evening?
Because the world is turning around, there's different times.
Okay, that's a good answer from a scientific point of view, but that's not the reason why God did it. Because the day started in, what was the first thing that God said? You know, when we open the Bible and the very first words that God says, what is?
6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
Making
So what is the very first?
Genesis.
Psalm 1.
Very good.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Yeah, but that's not God saying something. That's the Holy Spirit writing it. But what is the actual words that God opened His mouth and spoke? What did God say?
He said something about rising about.
Come on, guys. Let's go fast. Genesis chapter 1. Read it quick, and who can find out first? What were the first words the Bible says that God said?
I know.
Let there be light. So God said, let there be light. Right? Let me ask you a question. So if God says, let there be light, that means light was not there, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because now, or maybe the light was there, but it was not in that place. Is everybody getting this?
Oh,
So the light was there, but the light was not there, right? You know what? Let me blow your mind now.
Okay.
Where do we get the light from now?
The sun.
From the sun?
No, God's hand.
We get it from the sun, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep reading in Genesis and let's go to day 4.
Hey, Mark, what page? What page? Form of range.
Okay, on day 4, that will be in verse 14.
Is it still chapter 1?
Yes.
14, chapter 1. Then God said, let there be light in the dome of the sky to separate.
Okay, look. Let's not get off topic here. Okay, so what was the first day? The first day, okay, day 1. What did God bring into existence? Light. He either brought it into existence or it was already in existence, but it was not in that particular place. God brought the light to that place. Okay, so the first day was light. What did He do on the second
Light
day?
and dark.
What did He do on the second day?
Darkness. Dark.
He separated.
What happened to darkness?
He separated the water from the water, right? And what did He do on the third day?
And
He brought forth vegetation from the ground, right? So he brought forth new what?
Animals.
New life. Right? Because there was nothing growing. He brought forth new life in the form of plants and trees. Is everybody getting this?
Yes.
So the first 3 days, the day 1, God brought forth what? Light. On the second day, He separated the waters that were below from the waters that were above. Right? So before that, what was it? It was all a big band of waters that's surrounding the earth. So God, He took the waters and He separated the waters. He put the waters in the sea, and He put an atmosphere in between, and He put the waters above. Just like we see now in the clouds. Where would the water above the earth be?
Clouds.
In the clouds. So God separated the water from the sea, from the water in the sky. You all seeing it? And then He brought forth, what did He bring forth?
New
He
life.
brought forth new life from the what? From the ground. So have any of y'all sowed a seed in the ground
Yeah.
and made a plant, help the plant to grow? So what are the few things that a plant needs?
Water,
Soil, fertilization,
And so we need water,
sunlight,
we need water,
minerals,
and we need light. Right?
worms, leaves,
So supposing the water has soil, supposing the water has soil and fertilizer and everything, but the plant has no life. Will the plant live or die?
die.
The plant will die. So the most important thing was for the plant to have light. Light was the most important thing. That's why God brought the light in first. Okay? So first God brought in light. So God brought in light. Then He separated the waters, and the third thing He did was what? What was the third thing He did?
oh, He put stars.
Look up here, guys. This is the first 3 days. The first day God said, "Let there be light." The second day He separated the water from the water. What did He do on the third day? He created new life. Isn't that the story of Easter?
Yes.
Look, on Good Friday, Jesus died on the cross. He was the light of the world. Right? On the second day, was there separation?
Yes.
Why? Because Jesus was in the tomb. There was a separation of life and death. You see it? Right? Because Jesus' body is lying in the tomb,
Oh, yes.
but His spirit is somewhere. So it's a separation.
And on the third day,
And
He
on the
rose
third
again
day,
from living in the dead.
He brought forth new life. Came back. So this is a story of
Seated at the right hand.
Father. This is a story of resurrection. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So on the fourth day, what did God do on the fourth day? On the fourth day, He made the sun, the moon, and the stars.
No, that's the third day.
That's the fourth day. So if He created the sun, the moon, and the stars on the fourth day, and the sun gives us light, then what light is this?
Stars.
What light is this?
Stars.
Wait, let them come back and then you can go.
Can we go to the next room?
You can, but when she comes back. Okay, so if God created the sun on the fourth day, then what light is this? Did anyone, who answered, who said that? That's correct. This is the light of God. This is the light of wisdom. This is the light of God that God brought into the earth on the first day, okay? Because through His wisdom was the earth created, okay? It was through God's wisdom. Not the light of the sun, the moon, and the stars. Do you get it?
Yes.
That's why we do not worship the sun, we do not worship the moon, we do not worship the stars.
worship God.
We worship God. So on the fifth day, what did God do on the fifth day?
No, animal.
He made the fish and the birds. Right? So what did God do on the second day? What did God do on the second day? He separated. What did He separate?
Water.
The water from the water, right? So He put the atmosphere in the air, right? And He put the sea on the bottom. So the sea is on the bottom, and what's above?
Sky.
The sky. So He made creatures to swim in the sea. So what creatures did He make to swim in the sea? Fish. And now you have the air, and he made creatures to swim in the air. What creatures did he make?
Eagles.
So he separated. He separated again. Look. He separated water from water. Here he's separating the fish that swim in the water from the birds that fly in the air. Separate. You get it? Because fish are cold-blooded and birds are warm-blooded. You see it? So now God is going to come to this one, right? Which is the most important thing that he needs to do, which is create new life. And what would the new life be? It would be us. So God made the beast. He made the beast, the cattle, and the wild animals, and then he made man. Right? So you see, the first 3 days is just a reflection of the next 3 days. Right? And then on the 7th day, God rested. On the 7th day, God rested.
And the 7th day would be.
And the 7th day would be 1 week, right? And so on the 8th day, God would wake up and start again with the light. Okay? You all get it? Okay, who wanted to go to the restroom next? You have to wait after he comes back.
Can I go get water?
No, you have to wait. Okay, y'all are going to have to start doing this before y'all come to class, because after this week, no more restroom breaks. Okay, do it before class, or y'all are going to have to wait till after class. Because we can't keep interrupting the class, right? Because I lose my train of thought. Okay, so everything good so far?
What time is it now?
Okay, so we talked about Advent. Advent is what color? Purple. Why do we say Advent is purple? Because purple is a sign of what?
Peace.
Of what?
Peace.
It's a sign of mourning. It's a sign of preparation. It's a sign of being sorry for our sins. Because we are preparing for Jesus. Right? And how do we get the color purple? By mixing what?
Red and blue.
Red and blue. And we talked about it last week. Red represents what?
Blood.
Red represents blood. And blood is in humans. In humans. So that represents the human side of Jesus.
God.
The human side of Jesus, right? The human side of Jesus. And blue is the color of the sky. And the sky represents the heavens. And heavens is where God lives. So that represents the God that's in Jesus. Okay? So it represents both the man and the God that came together in Jesus. Do you understand? Okay. So during Advent, the 4 weeks before Christmas, the priest would wear purple. Okay? After we come into Christmas, the priest is wearing white because he's representing the purity and what else? The cleanness. That means no sin. The cleanness of Jesus. Okay? You're following so far?
Yes.
Is there any confusion? Anybody has any questions so far? No? Then we come to ordinary time. Why do we call it ordinary? Nothing big or nothing special is happening during that time, right? And after the ordinary time is over, then we come to our next big season, which will be what? It will be what?
Advent.
And so we celebrate it. No, not Advent. Advent is the coming of Christ. But what is here? We are celebrating. Yeah. Why? Because we were celebrating two of the major events in Jesus' life, which was what? His birth and his death and his resurrection, right? Okay. And then what is one more of the greatest events in Jesus' life that has not come yet? We're all waiting for. His what?
His resurrection.
His what? He's already been resurrected. So Jesus is born.
The day of his death.
He died. Jesus is born.
Came back to earth.
He coming back to earth. So we are waiting for the second coming of Jesus. Okay? That's what we are all waiting for. So these are the 3 or 4, we would say, major events in Jesus' life. What was the first event? Him coming to earth as a
baby.
He's coming to earth as a baby. See, you know, in the Old Testament, right? Everybody had this picture of God. They had this picture of this old man with a white beard, and he had a big stick in his hand. And all he was looking for was for you to make a mistake so he could whack you. That's the picture that they had of God. Okay? That's the picture they had of God. Now, if God wanted to change that picture and he wanted to show them that he's not that person with a stick in his hand that's coming to whack you, but he's there to just for you to love him and for him to love you. what would be the most unthreatening form that he could come in? Could he come as a big guy with his pants hanging up to here, walking like that on the dark street behind you, when you turn around and you get, oh my God, he's gonna mug me or something and steal all my money. So what would be the only form that he could come as?
A scrawny guy.
What is the only form
weak
that a human being?
A weak
Baby.
person.
See, a baby doesn't threaten you. When you see a baby, what you want to do?
You want to hug it.
Hug the baby, and the baby hugs you back. And that's how God came to earth. He came as a baby because he's not threatening. He wants you to hug him. He wants you to hold him and to love him. That's why Jesus came as a baby. Do you understand? Okay, if Jesus came as a rich man, then the rich people would say that Jesus is only for the rich people. So that's why Jesus came as a poor person. Okay? Because he came for everyone. Yes.
There's something quick. My mom told me
Mhm.
that one day the devil, Satan, will visit all of us.
Satan visits us all the time.
Yeah, he visits
Because
us
the minute you
every year.
sin, that's because Satan has visited you and caused you to commit a sin.
Wow.
So-
And Santa is.
Were you wanting to say something, Anthony?
No. FYI.
Anybody else have any questions? Don't feel shy or embarrassed to ask questions because nobody's right or wrong. We're all here to learn, okay? Yes.
So is it true that Santa's Satan?
No, I'm not saying that Santa is Satan. What I'm trying to show you is the
It's on screen for the word.
the evil that's behind the spirit of Christmas. Okay? Christmas is supposed to be a time where we are celebrating whose birth?
Jesus.
We are supposed to celebrate Jesus'
But
birth.
Satan gets in.
And when you are celebrating your birthday, the gift should come to you, not to everybody else. So we celebrate Christmas wrong. That's what I was trying to explain to you, okay? I was not calling Santa Satan, but the spirit behind Santa is evil. Because if you think about it,
He stalks you.
when Jesus was born, where was Jesus put?
In a crib.
Oh,
At
in the back of a barn.
Stable.
A barn.
Stable.
A barn.
BR.
Barn.
No.
Okay, when Jesus came, he came in a manger.
Now we can talk.
Who is it?
Okay, and does anybody know what a manger is?
Is it like a person who takes care of the stables?
No.
Or someone?
Manager is like the person that owns it.
No, it's a manger. It's a thing. It's not a person.
Do you
A
know
manger is a thing. What would a manger be?
A person.
Something that
It's not a person, it's a thing.
Something that holds a baby.
Oh, I
It's
think
what would we call it what would we call it today?
a
A
barn.
crib. That's what we would call it. A manger is a crib. Anybody know what a crib is? Can anyone explain to me?
Oh.
Yes.
It's those things that rock the babies, the crib.
So what would you call
It's just
it?
a rocking
A
chair.
crib.
It's a?
It's a rocking bed.
Yeah, what do you call the rocking bed?
It's
A crib. What else
it's
would
a
you call
little
it?
small bed that
Manger.
has sticks everywhere.
What would you call a crib?
Stable.
Anybody here?
Stable?
No.
Just call it a bed.
I'll just call it a bed.
A bed.
A bed.
A bed.
It's called a cradle.
Cradle.
Come on. How many of y'all can sing this song with me? Rock-a-bye baby on the treetop. When the wind blows the... Now you know where we got the word cradle from?
I
baby was put on a
never
cradle?
sang that song.
And a crib on top. Okay? Y'all get it? Okay, now let me ask you another question. When Jesus was born in the stable, okay, Mary and Joseph were very poor,
It
right?
was in a cradle.
And they were coming, they didn't have any crib.
They used
They
straw,
didn't-
they made one.
They made one. So
They
what would
put
they
all
make
the
one from?
animals around.
Shaw.
What would they make one from?
Animal skin.
The animal what?
Animal, the food they ate, the straw.
Not the straw.
Hey.
Hey!
Bale.
Okay.
Bones.
So this would have been
Joseph was
like a box.
craftsman.
This would have
He was
been
a woodsman.
yeah, but Joseph doesn't have his tools and he doesn't have time because his wife is in labor and he's struggling now to get her. So basically this would be a wooden box.
Whoa.
Okay? And you know what they would put in the wooden box?
Hay!
Straw.
They would
Animal
put.
skin.
They wouldn't put straw in there. What would they put in there?
Blanket.
One at a time. One at a time. You'll have to lift your hands.
Hey.
No. What would they put in there?
Animal skin.
Animal skins. The animals are going to eat their own skins.
Blankets?
Think now. This is a box in which they're putting animals' feed.
The baby.
So the animals are going to feed on what? What are the animals going to eat?
Food.
They're going to eat what?
Hay. Grass.
That's what I said.
Grass tastes good. It's a lot of nutrients.
Yeah, but people don't eat it. Animals do.
Newsflash. Grass is good.
What are they going to eat?
Wheat.
Barley.
They're going to eat wheat or barley, right?
I thought I said
Now let me ask you another question.
My hand is stuck.
You know when the Jews used to travel long distances? Because they didn't have no trains and no airplanes and no ships, you know what they used to travel on?
Feet.
Feet.
You'll have to raise your hands, guys. You can't keep screaming.
Camel.
Camel,
Sometimes they walk.
sometimes they walked.
They
Donkeys, horses, okay?
Oh, I know.
But sometimes they walk, right?
Yeah. Like there's people always in the village walking around.
Walking around. So supposing because Mary and Joseph are traveling from a far place to come to where were they coming to?
Jerusalem.
To Bethlehem. Right? Because Jesus was born in
Oh, man,
Bethlehem.
I've been listening to Christmas songs every day and I can't
Okay.
even get that down.
So they were traveling to
What?
this is how you will say Bethlehem in Hebrew. Bethlehem. Say it after me. Bethlehem. Okay, so you know what the word Beth means? Does anyone have a friend named Elizabeth? Yes? You know what the word? Do you know what the word Beth means? Anybody here? Do you all know what the word Beth means?